Good evening, everyone. Right. So today being a Saturday, I think students will join in some couple of times. We will wait for a few, but instead of waiting, we have very less time today. Just 2.5 hours to cover very important topic on place of supply and exemption. And we have also have to cover what we left out yesterday, that is composite supply. So today is going to be a really power packed session because we are going to discuss a lot of important things. Whoever has joined in will be really the ones who will gain the benefit. Who have missed it, they will definitely lose it, or they may have to somehow cover it up by watching the recorded videos if that is available. Okay, so good evening, Lakshmi. Good evening, Miss Somya. Good evening, everyone. Let us straight away get into the session as usual. I will also today also I will share with you few things on how to approach, because let's start with a positive attitude and see how things goes up, right? Stay motivated. This is very important in our specifically, I would say, based on my experience of writing the CA exam. I have not cleared it in first attempt. Let me be upfront with you. After you fail once, after you will not fail. After I failed once, the zeal, the motivation dies of saying that is this CA for me or no. But the history says that you should be motivated even if you fail. You should think that yes, this is one of the stepping stones, and you should stay motivated and still write at the exams for the next time. And even for the first time students, you should stay motivated from the day you have enrolled for the CA exams till you write your exams. After you come out of the exam hall also, you should stay motivated because you have to write the next day's exam. So until all the exams gets over, all the papers you have finished writing, you have to stay motivated. There is no way that your zeal or your motivation can come down. How do we stay motivated? More than reading, these are basic things. I'll just tell you three things. I don't want to elaborate too many gyan or too many things on how to be motivated, do this, do that. No, just do these simple things because your lifestyle will help you in being motivated. Your lifestyle habits for better memory. What you have to do, you should have a sound sleep. Now, what does it mean by sound sleep? It doesn't mean you should sleep for 12 hours. A sound sleep is one wherein even for a limited hours you sleep, you complete the number of hours what is required. Like for a normal human being, 6 to 8 hours, 6 to 7 hours also is sufficient that you can have, but you should have a sound sleep. That is no disturbance, no gadgets. Just go on the bed, pray, and sleep. You should fall asleep because you should be so very tired for the whole day. And once you go on the bed, you should be in a position to sleep so that you know that next day morning you have to get up early and start studying. Now, some people are night owls, they study in the night. Some people study in the morning, whichever works for you. Because if something works early for me, you don't have to feel guilty. No shit, I'm not getting up early. That is not the case because some people it is early, some people it is night. If it is night for you, that's fine. That's your lifestyle. After that night reading, are you able to sleep, have a sound sleep? That is more important. Concentrate on having a sound sleep. Remove all the gadgets and sleep. Don't put alarm and sleep. You should be in a position to automatically get up. That is when that boost, that motivation will come up. So have the sound sleep, have a balanced diet. Don't eat junk foods. Don't eat too much fried items. Don't eat too much spicy items because it not only affects your body, it also affects your brain. You are in a should be in a calm position because there will be some times of frustration. There will be times when you're not able to keep up because the syllabus is overwhelming. But still, If you have a balanced diet, you will be able to control it, because anger, frustration, all these negative thoughts will not help us. All the positive thoughts will help us. The way how positive thoughts comes in is also to having a balanced diet. Don't spend too much time on eating. Eat fastly, quickly, not so fast, like 5 minutes. Digest it, chew it, and have a proper diet. Have a balanced diet. I'm not a dietitian here, but a balanced diet, you know what is good for you. A timely milk, a timely food, no spicy food, no food which causes, bolting of your body. Don't overeat so that as soon as you eat, you feel sleeping. No. Have a balanced diet. Basic food is enough. And third is stay away from distractions. In today's world, I think this is the biggest challenge which everyone faces. Even I face when I'm reading something, something pops up. Oh, that's interesting. Let me just see it. And I get distracted from what I'm reading. So this distraction has to be avoided. All your social media, all the pop-ups, you have to disable them. When you want to see the mobile, you have to see it. Not that mobile pops up and then you have to see. Mobile is your servant. You are not servant of the electronic device. You have to use it, and you should not let it to distract you. So these three things you follow, you will be motivated. You have to stay motivated, have a sound sleep, have a balanced diet, and stay away from distractions. Concentration will automatically come in. This is what we need for our CA syllabus, for our CA preparation. Got it? Now, before we get into the today's topic, as we had discussed that today's topic is place of supply, but we had let yesterday's last topic left out. So we will come back and read that topic. Now, what is that topic? That is a topic on place of supply is today's topic. Where is the charge of GST? In charge of GST, composition scheme was left out. So we'll discuss the important pointers for composition scheme and what are the things which you should keep in mind. Okay. Composition scheme is a specialized scheme wherein instead of paying the normal GST rate, the government has said that there are some small dealers or small traders who are not in a position to maintain books of accounts. They are not in a position to file the monthly returns. Now, for them, we'll come up with a special scheme as composition scheme. Now, there are two categories under this. One is composition scheme for goods and another one is composition scheme for services. Composition scheme for goods, this is covered under section 10, and composition scheme for goods simply says that if you are a manufacturer and your turnover is below the threshold limit. Now, what is the threshold limit for a composition scheme person? 1.5 crores. If you are a composition, if you are a trader or if you're a manufacturer and your turnover is up to 1.5 crores, then you have an option to apply for this composition scheme. The advantage is once you apply for the composition scheme, on your turnover, you will pay GST at 1%, which is 0.5% of CGST, 0.5% of SGST. 1% of the turnover in the state is what you will pay the taxes. So normally the GST rate for my product is 18%. But if you get registered as a composition scheme person, your GST rate will become 1%. Why? Because a person who's paying 18% can claim the input tax credit, but a person paying 1% cannot claim input tax credit. So that's why rate कम कर दिया गया और input tax हटा दिया गया है, which means rate is reduced and input tax credit will not be available. So for a composition manufacturer, the GST rate is 1%. And similarly, for manufacturer, for a composition trader, also it is 1%. So both are 1%. Then why have you mentioned separately? There is a distinction. For a manufacturer, it is 1% of the turnover in the state. and for the trader, it is 1% of the turnover of taxable supply of goods and services. Means what? For a trader, it is 1% of the taxable turnover. And for manufacturer, it is just turnover. So, if a trader sells goods worth 1 lakh rupees, which is taxable goods on which tax is payable, then on that 1 lakh, he'll pay 1%. Fine. But if along with 1 lakh rupees, he is selling 20,000 worth of goods which are exempted, then his total turnover is 1 lakh 20,000, but he will pay GST only on 1 lakh at 1%, not on 1 lakh 20,000 because that 20,000 is exempted goods. But if the same product is manufactured by a manufacturer, he is manufacturing goods worth 1 lakh rupees on which GST rate is available, it is taxable, and 20,000 he is manufacturing something which is exempted. But he will pay GST at 1% on 1 lakh 20,000 rupees. Because the terminology used is manufacturer has to pay 1% of the turnover. Doesn't say taxable turnover. It says turnover. So both taxable or exempt milake, he has to pay GST on the total turnover in the state or in the union territory. Got this? This is a important point in composition scheme. For restaurant services, who is a restaurant services provider? For them, the rate is 5%. And now you have composition scheme for services, wherein a service provider has to pay GST at 6%. For otherwise, the rate generally for services is 18%. But if he's a composition scheme person who's registered a composition scheme for services, then the GST rate is 6%, 3% plus 3%, 3% CGST and 3% SGST. Okay, with this background, let's understand the conditions. This is a voluntary scheme and optional. It means what? If your turnover is 1.5 crore, it is not compulsory that you should opt for it. It is your choice. It's a optional scheme. If you want to go for regular, you can go for regular. If you want composition, you can come for composition. So there is no compulsion that you have to come under composition scheme. Okay. Then quarterly payment of taxes. You don't have to pay taxes monthly. You have to pay taxes quarterly basis and file one annual return. Just one annual return. That's the important thing because if you're a regular person, you will pay monthly taxes and file monthly returns. But for a composition scheme, you will file one annual return by just one return for the whole year and pay taxes on a quarterly basis. Okay. The aggregate turnover, wherein what is the limit we had said up to 1.5 crores. So 1.5 crores, it is for all states and for special category states. We know, right? TNMM and USMA. Okay. For those special category states, it is 75 lakh rupees. Okay. So this limit has to be seen for 2 years in the preceding financial year as well as in the current year. So in your preceding financial year, your turnover should be less than 1.5 crores. And in the current year also, it should be less than 1.5 crores. But for composition scheme services, the limit is just 50 lakhs. For manufacturer and trader, it is 1.5 crores. And for services, it is just 50 lakhs. Come on, no questions is what does it mean? Does it mean that my understanding is your understanding is right or you are not understanding it, so no questions? Okay. So I understand that my understanding is that you're understanding it correctly, so there are no questions. Okay. Now, how do you calculate the aggregate turnover? For calculation of aggregate turnover, you have to calculate, you have to include everything. You have to include taxable turnover, whatever is your taxable supplies, whatever is exempt supplies, exports, interstate supplies, all of this you will include to see how do you, whether you're crossing 1.5 crores or no. But it excludes value of inward supplies on which tax is payable under RCM and taxes including cess also need not be included. So only your turnover you have to see, reverse charge you don't have to see, and taxes what you're paying also you don't have to include. Okay. It also excludes the value of interest or deposits or discount of deposits loan. So whatever interest you're getting on any deposits which you have given or any loan which you have given, that you should not include. It also includes the value of supplies from 1st April of the financial year up to the date of becoming liable for registration. So it's not like mid of the year you're converting. So you have to calculate from there. You have to calculate for the whole year from the 1st of April of the financial year. Sir, if interstate supply automatically, we should register the regular run? Yes. A composition taxable person cannot opt for composition scheme if he is doing any interstate. Any interstate, that conditions I will come here. Very good, you have asked here. Yes. Person making any supply who is not eligible, person making an interstate outward supply of goods, he is not eligible. So if you're making interstate, you cannot go for composition scheme, right? And persons who is making any supply of goods or services which are not leviable to tax, there also you cannot. But why aggregate turnover is included? Yes, to see the limit, then Lakshmi saying that, okay, you have made like 50 crores of exempt supply, or you're making, why aggregate turnover include interstate supply? Aggregate turnover includes interstate supply because previous year you might have done. Now composition scheme, you are doing it for this year. You're wanting to opt for composition scheme for this year, but previous year you would have done. Now, previous year you have done interstate so much, local you have done only 1 crore. So, will you be eligible? No. So, you have to consider total turnover to decide whether you are a big dealer or a small dealer. That is the reason for the purpose of aggregate turnover, interstate supplies is considered to in the total calculation. Got it. Very nice. Right. So person making any supply which are not leviable to tax is not eligible because say I am a person who is selling fruits. Fruits are already exempted. So why will I take registration? I will not take registration. So for me, composition scheme is not available because I am dealing only in goods which is not liable to tax. Then person making any interstate outward supply, interstate as we have discussed, if you're doing any interstate, you cannot go for composition scheme. Then person supplying goods or services through an e-commerce operator. If you're supplying goods through an e-commerce operator, even then you cannot. Then there are specific goods. If you're dealing or a manufacturer in this, not a trader, just if you're manufacturing the ice cream, pan masala, tobacco, aerated water, fly ash, bricks, these specific products, if you're dealing, then also composition scheme is not available for you. A casual taxable person or a non-resident taxable person cannot offer composition scheme. They have to always go for normal scheme itself and they will have to pay reverse charge. ऐसा नहीं कि 1% pay कर दिया तो reverse charge भी 1% नहीं. Reverse charge will be at regular rate. They will have to pay reverse charge. Say when we have discussed reverse charge, that any reverse charge gets triggered, they have to pay reverse charge mechanism. Also, supplier of services is supplied to marginal supply of service, which means that if you're dealing only in goods and if you want to do some services, then you are allowed to do some marginal supply of services, which is 10% of the turnover in the preceding financial year or 5 lakh, whichever is higher. Up till that amount, you can provide services. ऐसा नहीं कि if you're a trader, some small services you are doing, right? If you're selling air conditioner, you have to do some repairs of it. How much can I do repairs? If I do services, then I'll be out of the scheme. So government has relaxed it, saying that, okay, even if you are a trader to marginal extent, matlab thoda bahut, small amount, you can deal with services so that you will still be in the scheme. Now, services, what value? Services to the value not exceeding 10% of the turnover in the preceding financial year or 5 lakh, whichever is higher, up till that much amount, you can provide services. Okay. And this composition scheme person has to disclose in this invoices. He is not collecting taxes, so he will not issue an invoice. He will issue a document called as bill of supply. And in that bill of supply, he'll mention that I am a composition taxable payer, not eligible to collect taxes on supplies. Whatever GST sales he's making on that 1% tax, he has to pay from his pocket. He cannot collect from the customer. Okay. This we have discussed benefits, limits, inclusion, exclusion. Okay. Who are not eligible. Now, when should he take registration? When he's taking new registration, at that point of time itself, he can mention it. Or if he wants to shift, then he will have to shift from normal scheme to composition scheme effective from the beginning of the financial year. That is, he cannot opt saying that, okay, I have done transactions from April to December. Now I want to opt for composition for the balance 3 months. Not possible. Composition scheme is always applicable starting from the fresh financial year. In between साल के बीच में आप composition scheme को चुन नहीं सकते. Now, why is it? What is the validity? It will be valid till it is withdrawn. Now, withdrawal by a taxable person who ceases to satisfy any of the conditions. That is, if you have crossed the 1.5 crore limit or any other thing wherein you want to withdraw it, you can withdraw it. By how you will withdraw it? By filing an intimation within 7 days of occurrence of any event and pay regular taxes from that point of time. Effective date of withdrawal shall be the date of intimation itself. Now, withdrawal by a taxpayer who intends to withdraw from the said scheme, he can file an application before the date of such withdrawal, and effective date of withdrawal shall be the date of intimation. Whenever you are intimating from that day, you will be out of the composition scheme. Okay? That is all on the composition scheme. Any doubts on composition scheme? Yes, any doubts? If there are no doubts, yeah, no, sir. So voluntary withdrawal can be done at any time between the yes. Withdrawal, very good, Simran. Registration will be done in the beginning of the year. Withdrawal can be done anytime in between the year also. Now, how I will we withdraw? See, now 1.5 crores turnover is there. You have done your transactions and say you have seen that within 4 months itself your turnover has crossed 1.5 crores. So then you have to withdraw. So in that case, you have to withdraw from the scheme, or you feel that no composition scheme may you are having a loss because you are having a lot of input tax credit. If you utilize this input tax credit, then it will be benefit for you. So even in that instance, you can withdraw from the scheme in between the year also. Okay, now let's get into the topic of place of supply. This is a very interesting topic because earlier in the syllabus it was not there. Then they found it necessary that you have to bring in. That is the reason this concept of place of supply was brought in. The reason is to find out what is the place of supply, because to determine whether it is a interstate transaction or interstate transaction or intrastate transaction, we had discussed that there are two pointers which are necessary. What are the two pointers which are necessary to determine nature of transaction? That is to decide whether it is a interstate or intrastate. There are two things which you have to keep in mind. What are those two things? Yeah, tell me. Correct, then Lakshmi. Good. I appreciate your attention to the class and your swift answers. Very right. Let's wait for others, then I will disclose your answer. Come on, others. Correct, Simran. Ankita, your question is valid. Your question is a contractor building a flat needs to pay GST at 1% on booking amount. Is this composition? No, that is not composition. They are given a special rate to a builder, so they are paying it, but they are not under composition. Right. The answers what I've got to decide whether CGST, SGST has to be paid or IGST has to be paid is there are two factors which you have to keep in mind: the location of supplier and place of supply. The location of supplier and place of supply is the keywords. If the location of supplier and place of supply are in the same state, then it is an intrastate. If the location of supplier is in one state and place of supply is in another state or in another union territory, then it is a interstate supply. So factor is location of supplier and place of supply. Where they are located, that will decide the category, whether it's a interstate transaction or intrastate transaction. Right. Now, this is a very practical question. Now, this one, taxes are to be paid correctly. That's why there is this chapter and the whole point on place of supply. Now, what happens when instead of CGST and SGST, I have to pay CGST and SGST, I have paid IGST. What will happen in that case? Not part of your syllabus is a practical question I'm asking because you will then know that why place of supply is so very relevant. Access goes directly to center instead of state. Okay. So, will the state government be okay with it? Because say, Dhanlakshmi, you're from which state? Karnataka. Okay. So for Karnataka, Amur CGST and Karnataka GST has to be paid. Now, instead of that, if I pay IGST, will the Karnataka government be quiet? They will say that you had to pay Karnataka GST, you have not paid it, but you have paid IGST. So, you will the Karnataka government keep quiet? IGST can be divided into CGST and SGST. So, Ankita, you're saying that pay IGST and still fine. So then what will be the relevance of three rates? Then they can pay everything as IGST, then they will distribute it. That's not the case, right? You have CGST, you have SGST, then you have IGST. Say you are a businessman, you are a chartered accountant for a business, and while filing the returns, you had to pay CGST and SGST because it was an intrastate transaction, but you have wrongly paid IGST. Now, what will happen if you have paid the wrong taxes? Will you still say, okay, I've paid the taxes, only the heading is wrong? Is that okay? ITC claiming secondary from a supplier's perspective. Firstly, ಧನಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಸಪ್ಲೈಯರ್ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅವ್ರು ರಾಂಗ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಸ್ ಪೇ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ So can you file revised return? There is no concept of revised return in the GST era. No revised return. Rectification, can they do? No rectification possible. So say I have paid the wrong tax. Okay. Instead of CGST and SGST, I have paid IGST. Then the only way out is that I have to pay the CGST and SGST, which is the correct tax. Then the correct procedure is that you have to pay the correct tax and claim back the refund of the wrong tax. So I made a turnover of 1 crore. I have paid 5% GST on 1 crore. 5% is what? 50, 5 lakhs, right? On 1 crore, I've paid 5 lakh rupees. Now that 5 lakh I have to pay again if I paid under wrong head and claim for the refund of the wrong head what I've paid. So place of supply and paying the correct tax on the return is very important to not pay the taxes double. Of course, you can apply for refund, but getting refund from the government is very tedious. So you have to be careful while paying the taxes. Okay. Now, place of supply, okay, constitution is empowered union to make rules, hence only in IGST. So the rules what we study will be from the rules of IGST because only the central government is empowered to decide what will be the place of supply. That's why the provisions of IGST says that what is the place of supply. Now, place of supply for goods is very simple, where the goods move because it is tangible. We can identify, no need of complex rules. But for services, it is very difficult because due to the manner of delivery, there is service provider, there is service receiver, where the service is delivered, when the payment is made, where is the supplier's registered office, where is the receiver's registered office. All this can vary. And on the move, on the cloud, anywhere you can provide services being intangible. So the place of supply for services is more complex than place of supply for goods because goods, the place will be where the goods are moving itself. Now, there is another concept called B2B and B2C. We'll be using this very much often when a supplier is providing a sales, raising a sales invoice to another person wherein the recipient is also registered, then it is called as B2B transaction. That is one registered person to another registered person is called as B2B. When a supplier who is registered, he is providing goods or services to a recipient who is not registered, then it is a B2C transaction. Why B2B and B2C is relevant? Because the place of supply for B2B is separate and place of supply for B2C is separate. Okay, so B2B and B2C we will use in this concept of place of supply quite many times. Place of supply for goods as this section 10, wherein each of this section we will understand. Place of supply of goods in 10.1a says where the supply involves movement of goods. Then what is the place of supply? Where the supply involves movement of goods. The place of supply is the location of the goods at the time when the movement of goods terminates. That is when the goods finish their journey. That is the goods are reaching their destination. That is the place of supply. Now I am in Karnataka. I am selling goods to a person in Hyderabad. So what is the place of supply? It is Hyderabad, correct? Because the goods are destined for it and the movement of the goods terminates at Hyderabad. That's why that's the place of supply. Very good. Simple. So where the movement of goods is involved, that will be the place of supply where the movement terminates. But in case of bill to ship to transaction, the goods will terminate at one place, but the place of supply will be another. How? Let's see this example. Ganesh Traders is selling goods to Maruti Traders. Okay. While Ganesh is selling goods to Maruti Traders is saying they're in different state. Ganesh is in Maharashtra, Maruti Traders is in Karnataka. But Maruti Traders is saying that you bill the goods to me, but you ship the goods to Prime Hardwares, which is in Tamil Nadu. Okay, he has taken the instruction from the customer and he's saying customer told me to deliver the goods to Prime Hardwares in Tamil Nadu, so I'll deliver the goods to Tamil Nadu. So what we say in the first condition that where the good terminates, that will be the place of supply. So from that logic, it should be Tamil Nadu. But it is a transaction of bill to Karnataka and ship to Tamil Nadu. In a case of bill to ship to transaction, the place of supply will be the place where it is billed to. So since it is billed to Karnataka, the place of supply will be Karnataka in this case. Okay, not Tamil Nadu, even though the goods are getting terminated in Tamil Nadu, but it is getting terminated on the instruction of Maruti Traders. So, billing where you bill to, in case of a bill to ship to transaction, that will be the place of supply. Clear? Perfect. So, in case of bill to ship to transaction only, this exception comes, not otherwise. Now, the place of supply in case supply not involving movement of goods. Sometimes supply involves without movement of goods, then the place of supply will be the location of the goods at the time of delivery to the recipient. Now, where the supply is made, but goods are not getting moved. Like I have an old air conditioner, I am selling it. I'm using it for business, so I have to pay GST. Now I am vacating the office. Now, when I'm vacating the office, I've told the landlord that I want to sell the AC also. Whoever is the new tenant, you ask him to contact me. I will sell it off to him. So the new tenant comes, he negotiates, and we agree that, okay, I will sell you at 10,000 rupees. When I bought, it was 30,000 rupees, but since I've used, now I'm ready to sell it at 10,000 rupees. Is it a sale? Yes. Is it a supply? Yes. Is the supply involving movement? No. Because it's there only. That air conditioner is not getting moved anywhere, even though it's not an immovable property. It is a movable property itself. But the supply is not involving movement of goods. In that case, what will be the place of supply? The place of supply will be the location of the goods where it is located. So my office place, that will be the place of supply. That is an example of this case where supply not involving movement of goods. Now, in this context of 10.1c, they have gotten 10.1ca also, wherein they've said that just forget this. See, when you do any online shopping, you will gift something to somebody, right? Like you have gifted some phone to your friend. You are in assume you are in the state of Maharashtra and you have told deliver the goods to my friend who is in Bangalore. Now, in that case, even though the billing address will be in Maharashtra, but the delivery of this is happening in Karnataka. So the place of supply will be Karnataka because what is happening is online shopping. Lot of this happens that from one entity it is one place it is built and shipped to another place. So that place where it is getting delivered, they should get that benefit. That's why they have brought in this 10.1 CA for saying that even though the location as per the address is separate, but where the address of the said person is not recorded on the invoice, but you are delivering it to another state, the place where you are delivering, that will be the place of supply. Okay. Then 10.1D, where the supply involving installation of goods. You are brought a AC from different state. You have brought a lift from a different state but the lift is getting installed in another state. You have a site office. Your registered office is in different state. Your site office is in different state. Wherever the site is located, there only you will install. Correct. So that place where you are installing, that will be the place of supply. The place of supply is the place of such installation or assembly. Okay. Difference between 101B and 101CA is address in the invoice. Correct. 101B is different. 101CA is the delivery location. Okay. As per the provisions discussed above, the place of supply of goods shall be the address of delivery. In case of 101CA, in case of 101B, it is the place, it is the invoice. Where the invoice is addressed to, that is the place of supply. So both are opposite. 101B is saying invoice place, even though you're delivering it anywhere else in case of bill to ship to transaction. But in 101CA, it's saying bill to address, you don't have to consider, you have to see the location of delivery in case of this supply to an unregistered person. 101B is the supply to registered person. 101CA is supplied to an unregistered person. Ten one d installation. Then 101E says where goods are supplied on board a conveyance. Conveyance means a flight. You're going in a flight and you're consuming some goods there, not services. You're buying something. A toy they are selling, you're buying that toy. In that case, what is the place of supply? The place of supply shall be the location at which such goods are taken on board. Where they are selling, that will not be the place of supply. Where the goods are taken on board, because the flight may take off from Delhi, but they may land at Mumbai, load some goods, and then they may sell. So, will the place of supply be Delhi or Mumbai? Jet Airways, I don't know if Jet Airways exists. Let's talk about some practical airways. Akasa. Akasa Airways flight I boarded from Delhi. It landed in Mumbai, and from Mumbai it started, but my journey was from Delhi to Bangalore. Now they started selling the small aeroplane. You have a fidget, right? They sold it in while the flight was from Mumbai to Bangalore, but the flight started from Delhi. So what will be the place of supply of this fidget? What I'm buying from them? Place of supply is Delhi. No, no. The place of supply is Somya Ranjan and Dhanlakshmi. It will be the place. The place of supply shall be the location at which such goods are taken on board. When are the goods taken on board? At which city? They're taken at Mumbai. So the place of supply will be Mumbai, not Delhi. Even though the journey is starting from Delhi, but it is for goods. For services, your understanding is correct. But for goods, where the goods are getting onboarded, that will be the place of supply. Okay. Be careful with goods and services for conveyance purposes. So that is the place of supply for goods in various situations. Now, place of supply for services, we know that place of supply for services, come to the straight point, will be that first you have to go to the general rule. If the relevant specific rule is not satisfied, then we'll go to the general rule. So even though 12.2 comes first, right? The section for deciding the place of supply for services is dictated and given in section 12. So if section 12 says that you have to apply this rule, then you have to apply this rule after all this 12.3 to 12.14 is getting completed. Okay, so the direction for determining place of supply services, you have to go from 12.3 to 12.14, decide what is the place of supply. If any of those specific rules is applicable, then you will consider that. Otherwise, you will go with the general rule. So general rule we'll read at the end so that we first go with the specific rule. So what is specific rule saying that this you have read this, but let's brush this up. First is services in relation to an immovable property or lodging or accommodation in a hotel, boat, or vessel. So whenever you are taking services of a immovable property, that is any hotel, any uh, resort, or anything like stay you're taking in. Now, similar to the immovable property or a hotel, even if you're taking any lodging accommodation in a boat or vessel, still that all of that will come under this rule. So where is that location of immovable property located? If it is in India, then the place of supply will be where such immovable property is located, right? So, and if it is outside India, then it will be the location of the recipient. Now, first, let us understand the first part. I am a businessman. I am traveling from, I have a registered office in Karnataka. Now, I am going for audit work to Delhi. Now in Delhi, I'm staying. Now this Delhi, when I stay, I will stay in a hotel for 3 days and I will pay the hotelier the stay charges, including food, because food is complimentary. So I will not miss that. I will have that food also. Now, when I'm leaving, the hotelier is saying that, sir, give me the GST. I will give you GST invoice. So if I give him the GST invoice, now he is confused. He is in Delhi, but I am giving him GST registration of Karnataka. He's saying, sir, I am confused. Should I charge you IGST or should I charge you CGST and SGST? So he comes to Dhanalakshmi and Soumya and asks them, Madam, please help me to decide should I charge CGST, SGST or should I charge IGST? So what will be your answer? Dhanalakshmi, CGST and SGST. So I will fight with him. I will fight with the hotelier saying that if you charge CGST and SGST, how will I get credit? If you charge IGST, then I will get credit because CGST he will charge, SGST will be for the Delhi state. Delhi SGST, if he charges, I cannot claim the credit in Karnataka. And that CGST also, of that state, I cannot claim it here. So I'll fight with him, saying that charge me IGST so that I can claim the credit. Any other answer? Are you still sticking with your answer, Dhanlakshmi? You're right, then Lakshmi. Definitely you're right, saying that yes, it is a immobile property services. So you will have to charge CGST and SGST only. You're right. Clear on this, everyone? Okay. So the place of supply, we understand that if the where the property is located, that will be the place of supply. Sir, I'm having confusion getting that SGST of one state cannot be used for ITC also. Yes. Now, in our example, this Delhi hotelier will charge Delhi CGST and Delhi SGST. Now, I am in Karnataka. I cannot claim that credit because that state CGST and SGST, if they are doing any intra-state transaction, only then the recipient can get it. If he is charging me IGST, then I can claim it in my state. But CGST, SGST of another state cannot be claimed by me in another state. Clear, Simran? Because the portal, the GST portal does not allow it. More than anything, the law is silent, but the portal doesn't allow. It says that other states, GST and SGST, you cannot claim it. Okay. And if this immovable property is outside India, right? Like and Dhirubhai Ambani is not there. Mukesh Ambani is having a property in say Dubai, and you are staying in Dubai. You are an Indian person. Who is the supplier? Location of supplier is what? Location of supplier is in Mumbai because uh, Mukesh Ambani is in Mumbai. Now, to determine location of supplier, you know it is in Mumbai. Place of supply to determine that if the property is outside India, then the place of supply will be location of the recipient. If I am using that property in Dubai, but I am in India, supplier also is in India, the place of supply will be where I am located. So I am located in Karnataka, so the place of supply will be Karnataka. So even though the property is in Dubai, that will not become the place of supply. The place of supply will be where I am located, provided the supplier is in India. Now, if a Dubai hotel is providing some services, then it will be outside India. That's fine. But if the supplier is in India, then the place of supply will be the location of the recipient. That is how the GST will go to the Indian government. Clear? Now, similar to this hotel, all these services which are directly in relation to the immovable property, all of that will be the place of supply will be where the immovable property is located. That is architect services, interior decorators, real estate agents, engineers, all of this provides services in relation to that immovable property. So where that immovable property is there, that will be the place of supply. Then granting of any rights, right? Rental rights, right to use immovable property, lodging, hotels, definitely we know, clubs, everything, accommodation of immovable property for organizing any of this social cultural events. All of that will be any ancillary services also will be included here itself. Okay. Now, there are some complicated cases where if you're staying in a bundled hotels, like you've taken a full package from Taj Hotels, and Taj is having locations across India. So, what will be the place of service? Will be, say, you've taken a 10 nights package and you can stay in any of their places. Say, for 10 nights of stay, they're giving you a concessional rate of 10,000 rupees per night. So you've paid the 1 lakh rupees. Now, one day, if you're staying in Delhi, after a few days, you're staying in Mumbai. So which GST has to be charged? It depends on number of nights what you're staying in the property. Now, that is first part. Second is if the accommodation is in immovable property for organizing events or lodging where property is located in two contiguous states. That is, say Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, we have a border state. In the border state, some property is located, some property is in Tamil Nadu, some property is in Karnataka. So which GST they have to charge? It will be decided on the area of the immovable property lying in each state. Say it is for 80,000 square feet, 30,000 is in Tamil Nadu and 50,000 is in Karnataka. So they have to charge proportionately. Even though you may be staying in one uh, room which is in Karnataka, but the whole property 30% is in Tamil Nadu, 80%, 30 3/8 is in Tamil Nadu, 5/8 is in Karnataka. In that proportionate, they have to charge GST. Then lodging in a houseboat or vessel, that will be depending on what is the time you spend on vessel in each day. Now, the service provider will give a declaration saying that this is what they're spending first night in Karnataka, second night in Tamil Nadu, third night in Kerala, the coastal zones, right? Where that ship is going or that houseboat is going, based on that, GST has to be paid. Second, 12.3, immovable property, we have understood it. Now we have to go into 12.4, wherein in case of restaurant and catering services, personal grooming, fitness, beauty, and healthcare services, the place of supply will be where such services are actually performed. So, second category is where the services are actually performed for specialized services. Because if you have to go to a beauty parlor, you have to go to that place, or that parlor person can come, right? Both are possible. So, where such services are actually performed, that will be the place of supply. A beauty parlor in Tamil Nadu goes and does some beauty parlor for a ICAI president in Delhi. So, where is that service actually performed? And what will be the GST he will charge? Makeup artist is in Tamil Nadu. He is doing a makeup for president of ICAI who's in Delhi. So, what GST should he charge? Come on, other than Simran and Dhanlakshmi, others can also answer this. Dhanlakshmi, you're saying POS is Delhi, but intrastate. Delhi is correct, but why is it intrastate? Soumya, right. Interstate, correct, Sridhar. Yes. The supply location of supplier and place of supply. Location of supplier is in Tamil Nadu. Place of supply is where such services are actually performed. It's in Delhi. So different states. So interstate supply. Correct. Then training and performance services. Here B2B and B2C will come. So if you're providing training to a B2B, which means you're providing to an organization is saying that come and do training for my employees. So I've gone and done training for their employees in Goa. Okay. The company is in Bangalore. I am also in Bangalore. Now the company said, give this training services in Goa. What will be the place of supply? The company is registered. I am also registered. Company is also registered. Then it will be intrastate Bangalore, because in case of B2B supply, the place of supply is location of such person, not where the actual services is provided. Now, take another example. I am in Karnataka. There is a company who is not registered, who is in Tamil Nadu. They also want training in Goa. So, in that case, what will be the place of supply? It will be interstate supply, place of supply being Goa, location of supplier is in Karnataka, place of supply is Goa. Very correct. That is for training and performance appraisal services. Service by way of admission to any events, amusement park, and other places. So this is like entry tickets. So if you're having any cultural sports events, any of these IPL events, the place of supply will be the where the event is actually held. Okay, where the event is actually held, that will be the place of supply. Where the event is actually held, where the park is there, all of that, that will be the place of supply. Then organizing of the event. So 12.5, 12.6 was entry, but 12.7 is you are appointing an organizer, event management. So what the GST event manager will charge, if the recipient is registered, then the location of recipient. If the recipient is unregistered, but the event is in India, then the location where the event is held. But if the recipient is unregistered and event is outside India, then the location of recipient. Got it? I'll tell this again. When the event is done for another business who is registered, then wherever you conduct the event doesn't matter. Where the location of recipient is there, that will be the place of supply. But if the recipient is unregistered, then where that event is held, same like training services, but that event, if it is held outside India, then it will turn back to location of the recipient. Simran's question is, sir, who can be the supplier in case of 12.6? 12.6 supplier services by way of admission to events, amusement park, other places, that company which is doing it, like IPL. IPL will be the supplier because they are providing the services of entertainment. Or in case of a stadium, the stadium association, they are providing the entertainment services. They will be the supplier. Okay, then organization sponsorship we have seen, organizing of an event. Then transportation of goods including mail or courier. So when you go to a courier agency, what GST he will charge you? The place of supply by way of transportation of goods including mail or courier provided to a registered person is the location of the such person, that is location of that registered person. But where services are provided to an unregistered person, the place of supply is the location at which the goods are handed over for their transportation. Right? So you are sending a courier from Tamil Nadu to Delhi. ICAI, some application you have to submit, you're giving to a courier agency and saying this goods has to reach Delhi. So the place of supply is Delhi or the place of supply is Tamil Nadu. Aditya is saying Delhi. Delhi is the destination of the goods. But here we are saying that what is the delivery of the service? As soon as you give the courier person this, he collects the money. Your service is actually started. So if you have come to his doorstep, he will start charge you the place where he is collecting it. He is sitting in Tamil Nadu itself. So he will charge you CGST and SGST. It's an intrastate. The good will get delivered there. But the place of supply, location of supplier and place of supply being the same city, it is a intrastate supply, not a interstate supply. It's an intrastate supply. So he will charge you CGST and SGST. Okay. Next is passenger transportation services, railways, buses, everything. Same your passenger transportation service where the recipient is registered, location of the recipient. So most of the cases you'll see that in place of supply where the recipient is registered, that will be the place of supply where that recipient is registered. But where the recipient is unregistered, then it will be the location. It will be the location where the passenger embarks on the conveyance. Where you are taking the journey, that will be the place of supply. And if you're taking multiple tickets, if you're taking bundle tickets, and if the address of the registered unregistered person is available, then the location of such unregistered person. In other cases, the location of supplier of service. But sir, if it is outside the state, if it is outside the state, still Aditya, the good will go there. But your place of providing the courier services is getting ended here itself. You the customer doesn't have to go to that state. So the place of supply is where you're started providing the service. You have taken the goods, you will provide the service of courier service, right? So that's why the place where you're taking the courier, that will be the place of supply. Okay. Courier is completed and passenger transportation services is completed. Then 1210 service supplied on board a conveyance. Same flight में मैं कॉफी पी रहा हूँ. Provision of coffee, is it supply of goods or supply of services or food? You're taking any Generally, they give what? One cup noodles, they'll put water and give it to you. Now you bought this cup noodles, they have served water and given it to you. Is it supply of service or supply of goods, first of all? Food is goods? No. Food in a package form is goods, but your package form is served to you. Like if you buy cup noodles from a shop, then it is supply of goods. But in a flight, they are not selling you the cup noodles. They are serving you the cup noodles. So when they are serving it to you, it is supply of services. Okay, it is supply of services. Be careful. So now, अभी ठीक है sir. So services supplied on board a conveyance. When you bought this food, what will be the place of supply? Same, let's take that same example from Delhi. The flight has gone to Mumbai, and from Mumbai it has come to Bangalore. Okay. So what will be the place of supply of that Maggi noodles what you're buying in between when the flight is between Mumbai to Bangalore and you're eating that Maggi in Tamil Nadu? When the flight was flying in Tamil Nadu, you ate that Maggi. What will be the place of supply of that Maggi? So it's a supply of service. So it will fall under this itself. Then they've loaded it, not from Delhi, they've loaded it in Mumbai. So Delhi to Mumbai, they didn't serve me anything. Even though I was hungry, these buggers didn't give me anything. And they said, wait till Mumbai comes, then our food will get loaded, then we will give you. So they loaded the food in Mumbai. I was hungry till then I paid them and took that Maggie. Place of supply is Mumbai, is what Sridhar is saying. How about others? Mumbai is the place of supply. Soumya Ranjan also is saying it. Let's see what is the place of supply here. Dhanlakshmi, flight started. I took a flight from Delhi to Bangalore. From Delhi to Bangalore, they took a via flight. So they said that if the flight will stop in Mumbai, then you same flight you sit, the Mumbai flight will take you to Bangalore. So from Delhi to Mumbai, I was hungry. They didn't give me anything. They said food will get loaded in Mumbai. Then we will start selling it. So in Mumbai came, they loaded the food. And then when the Mumbai to Bangalore was there, I was there hungry. That time Tamil Nadu came in between. In Tamil Nadu, they gave me the food and I consumed it. So for consumption of that Maggie, what is the place of supply? Mumbai, Dhanlakshmi, and others who have said Mumbai, it is wrong because Mumbai will be the place of supply in case of goods supplied on board. But in case of services supplied on board, the location of first scheduled point of departure. What is the first scheduled point of departure in a case? The flight started from Delhi. So the services will be where that flight is scheduled. First scheduled point of departure is Delhi. So the place of supply is Delhi and not Mumbai. So, okay, the distinction between services and goods now we have clearly understood. For services, it will be where the scheduled departure starts, and for services, where the goods are onboarded. Okay, ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ? ओके, गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज डिफरेंसेस यहीं पे है। और यहाँ पे रजिस्टर्ड अनरजिस्टर्ड का कोई डिस्टिंक्शन भी नहीं है। नेक्स्ट, टेलीकम्युनिकेशन सर्विसेज, जहां पे फिक्स कम्युनिकेशन लाइन है, लीज लाइन है वगैरह। लोकेशन वेयर द टेलीकम्युनिकेशन सर्विस लीज लाइन और एंटीना इज इंस्टॉल्ड, दैट इज जहां पे भी इंस्टॉलेशन है। बिलिंग एड्रेस है तो बिलिंग एड्रेस पोस्टपेड में, प्रीपेड में, जहां से आप रिचार्ज करते हो, दैट विल बी द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई। सो वेरियस ऑप्शंस आर गिवन that if you do online, they say we don't go to the shop nowadays. If you go to the shop, where the shopkeeper is there, that is the place of supply. But if you do it online and your address is given to them, then where your address is there, that will be the place of supply. Financial and stockbroking services, location of the recipient, and if the address is available. But if address is not available, then the location of the supplier. These are all small services, not major ones. When you give advertisement services to the government runs a lot of advertisement campaigns. Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao, uh, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, and things like that. They are putting so much boards and bumpers in the railways and everything. So how do they do it? They give it to the agency. Now agency has start providing services to the government. They have to charge GST. So wherever it is established, so newspapers are given. So each newspaper कौन से state में है, that state का GST. And if it is on the railways, proportionately where that railways is running on the nature of chart, I'll give you a chart also on this. Based on that, each kind of services, proportionately, they have to charge GST. And now 12.3 to 12.14 mein, if your services is falling, good enough. If it is not falling within this category, then you have to go to the general category. So first you have to see whether your services is falling in any of these categories. Is it falling? Yes, they are called as general category. If general category is not fulfilled, then like we went from 12.3 to 12.14, say it's a chartered accountant services. Was it mentioned in 12.3 to 14? No, it was not mentioned. So if it is not mentioned, then we'll apply the general rule, which is 12.2. Now 12.2 says that when you're supplying it to a registered person, the place of supply will be the location of the person receiving the service. And if you're supplying it to an unregistered person, location of such unregistered person when address is available, and location of supplier of service if address is not available. So for most of the services, we will apply this general rule only. We'll apply this rule by stating that, okay, the location of the, that is where the receipt, it's a B2B transaction. When you're supplying it to a registered person, it means it's a B2B transaction. If it's a B2B transaction, wherever you provide doesn't matter. Where that recipient's location of the recipient is there, that is the place of supply. And if the supplier is unregistered, the supplier is registered, recipient is unregistered, the location of such unregistered person will be, if the address is available, that will be the place of supply, and location of supply of services in all other cases where the address of the recipient is not available. Clear on this? Okay. So we'll quickly go to the MCQs because nothing much else on the place of supply. This is what is the place of supply. Yes, what will be the place of supply in this case? Yes, Simran, you're the first person to give the correct answer. The answer is C, Gujarat. Why? Ram Limited of Maharashtra contracts with Sham Limited Rajasthan to sell his old used furniture for 1,50,000. The goods will be delivered to Sham Limited at Gujarat. So where are the goods getting delivered? It is getting delivered at Sham Limited at Gujarat. The question is tricky, but for movement of goods, where the goods are getting terminated, that is the place of supply. In this case, the goods are getting terminated at Gujarat. So place of supply is Gujarat. People who are saying Rajasthan, can you give me your reasoning? Or are you clear now? Perfect. Okay. We have not defined this thing, but what is export? Export of goods means just selling to a foreign country? No. Location of recipient outside India? No. Place of supply of goods outside India? No. But export means one thing, which means simple taking out of India, taking goods out of India to a place outside India. This is the definition of export. Just if you are getting foreign exchange, that is not sufficient. You have to take the goods out of India to call it as a export. Okay. So this we didn't discuss, but I thought here I can discuss it. Export means taking out of India, taking goods out of India to a place outside India. Next is supply of goods to a SEZ. This you would have read it. Supply to SEZ is always treated as a interstate supply, even if the SEZ is in India or in the same state. Still, it is a treated as a interstate supply itself. Supply to SEZ is always interstate supply. Yeah. So what is the true correct answer? So when we are purchasing goods from India and taking it to another country for our own business, then that is also export. Yes, that will also be export. Yes, here the correct answer is D because both B and C are correct. A will charge IGST to C and C will charge IGST to B. So it's a bill to ship to transaction. Soumya, you're right. A will charge IGST to C, but B also has to get charged, right? He also is getting goods. So who will charge B? C will charge B. So in case of a bill to ship to transaction, there are two transactions and two invoices will get raised. Yeah, this is an interesting question. Yes. In this case, location of Mr. B, Noida. The correct answer is location of the machinery, which is Uttar Pradesh. Because in case where that this is a case of on a monthly rental and where the supply does not involve movement of goods. So the place will be the where the goods are already existing. The goods are existing at Noida. So the place of supply will be Noida itself. Why was there a confusion? Correct. 101C. Okay. Next, let's go to POS or services. Yes, I think most of you have answered the correctly. Location of the supplier of service, which is Nagpur, since address is not available on records. Correct. Yes. What is the answer for this? The answer for this is very simple. It is B. Correct. Location of the flat, Mumbai. Mega Events, an event management company, organized an award function for Shah Diamond merchants of Ahmedabad who are registered in Gujarat. The event is happening at Mumbai. Determine the place of supply. Soumya, wrong. Sridhar, wrong. Aditya, right. Simran, right. Yes. It is not where the event is organized. It is a B2B supply, right? If it is supply of a B2B nature, then the place of supply will be where the receiver, the location of recipient, not the location of the event. So answer is A. This, okay, leave this is fine. Yep. Still confusion here. People, it is Delhi became the location of the first schedule point of departure, not Mumbai. Correct, Simran? 12:10. It is option A. Few people are saying option B. No, it is option A. Okay, last question before we take a break. Okay, this is fine. This you can answer. Oh my God, it's already 7:30. Yeah, here it is. The answer is D because it is an import of service, and import of service are treated as interstate supply of services. So the answer is D, both. Just not import of service. It is import of service, also it's right, but it is also an interstate supply. So you have to see that which are all the correct options. Just don't leave it first option because D is actually the correct option because it says both B and C. So it is import of service and it is an interstate supply of service. So the answer is both B and C, which is there in D. Okay, let's take a break of 5 minutes and please catch up at 7:35. We will discuss on the exemptions. Yeah, Sridhar's question is why is it an interstate supply? Because Sridhar, as we had discussed, any import or export is always interstate. It cannot be anything else. It will always be interstate supply. Okay. Now we are clear with place of supply. Now let's go to the exemption. Okay. Now GST we know is a tax and you should keep that chain continuing for the recipient to claim the credit. Okay. So it's always that the supplier charges GST, recipient claims the credit, and then he will also charge the GST when he sells something and the receiver will get the credit. That cycle goes on and on. But there are some goods or some services on which you cannot charge GST because it is for daily usage. It is a requirement. And if you charge GST on that, the prices will go up. So that's why government said that, okay, what we'll do is we'll give some exemption to specified category of services on which you don't have to charge GST. So they came up with this exemption and said certain specific goods, certain specified services, we will not charge GST. Okay. Now that is what happens with this exemption. This ITC chain gets broken up. So when I buy some goods, I claim ITC. When I'm giving that without tax because it is exempted, the chain gets broken. I cannot claim that credit. Why I cannot claim the credit? Because on my supply, I am not charging on my supply. I am not charging GST. So I cannot claim the input tax credit. That's the basic structure of ITC that if you are supplying something on which you're charging GST, then you can claim the credit. But if you're supplying something on which you're not charging GST, then you cannot claim the credit. Like uh, exemptions are breaking that change. They are antithesis to the ITC that your ITC gets stopped at that chain. Okay. Now, understanding that, it is important for us to understand on what all services ITC are the exemptions are available. Now, if you see in a study material, a lot of notes, lengthier chapter is there. I've broken down this lengthier chapter into charts so you can understand this in a much better manner. I hope the image is clear. Even if it is not clear, don't worry. I will share the presentation. Of course, yesterday's presentation and today's presentation, I will upload it. You should be able to see it on Monday. Clear? Very nice. So first exemption, we will go to the important exemptions and understand it because very much detailed. We have roughly around 45 minutes more. We will try to cover maximum exemptions, which are important ones. Charitable and religious activities. That is, what is the definition and what are the exemptions available? Entity which is registered under section 12AA or 12AB of the Income Tax Act. That is called as a charitable organization. So first is the institute doing just NGO, they will not get any exemptions. They will not get exemptions even if they are doing good charitable work. The condition is they have to be registered under 12AA or 12AB of the Income Tax Act. Then once they are registered also doesn't mean all their activities will get exemption. Only the specified activities, which is public health by way of care counseling of terminally ill, severely physically or mentally disabled person or person suffering from HIV, AIDS, infected drugs, or any drug addicts, alcoholic addicts. If they are providing care or counseling to such people, or they are providing public awareness of preventive health, family planning, or prevention of HIV infection, if this activity they are doing, or they're doing advancement of religion, spirituality, or yoga. Tomorrow you have World Yoga Day, and there are a lot of organizations will do advancement of yoga. And if they get any collections, then it will be exempted. So 12 AA and these activities, public health, advancement of religion, spirituality of yoga. Now, this public health also is not general public health, specifically to these people. Okay, that also we have to be clear. That is all watertight, that this specific condition only they have to fulfill, right? Then advancement of religion, advancement of educational programs, skill development relating to abandoned, orphaned, or homeless children, physically or mentally abused or traumatized person, or prisoners, or persons above 65 years residing in rural areas, or carrying on the activity of preservation of environment, watersheds, forests, and wildlife. Clear? These activities, if you are doing, then you are available, then your activities will be exempted. You have to go through the definition, no option, because you cannot put in your own terms. What is defined, that only will be there. Clear? So this charitable activities, if they are doing, then they are eligible for exemption. So now when they get donations, on donations, they don't charge GST because they're doing one of these activities. If they're not doing any of these activities, then it will be taxable. Donation can also be taxable, yes, because donation indirectly is a consideration. Now that consideration you're receiving for what purpose? If you're receiving for this purpose, then it will be. So a general understanding, a non-profit organization is exempted? No, not all non-profit organizations are exempted. If they're not doing any of these activities, or if they're doing these activities, but their 12 AA or 12 AB registration is cancelled, then also they have to pay GST. Correct. Other than this, activity is not exempt for NPO. You're right, Sridhar. Then, if this is the main activities, what they have to do. Now, related to this, if they're doing other activities, like they're running old age home. Now, it is a 12 AA or AB entity. They're running old age home. For whom they're running for residents above 60 years of age. Here it is 65 years old when we say advancement of educational program from abandoned orphan children, physically abused or traumatized person, prisoners, and persons above 65 years residing in rural areas. So here there is a kind of where's the pen? This is person above 65 years residing in rural areas. Here it is residents above 60 years in rural or urban, doesn't matter. So there's a distinction here on the charitable activities and running old age home. Okay. So if they're doing this activity and here they're doing above 60 years, then it will be exempted. They're having a old age home for whom they're giving for old age people, and old age people is defined as above 60 years, and where the consideration is up to 25,000 rupees per month per person for boarding, lodging, and maintenance, then also it will be exempted. So if they're running an old age home, they're collecting up to 25,000 rupees, it will be exempted. If they collect 26,000 rupees, then what will happen? Will it be exempted or no? No exemption. Correct. So up to 25,000, if they're collecting, it will be exempted. If they collect 26,000, you cannot say reduce 25,000 on the balance 1,000 taxable. No. On full 26,000, it will become taxable. Clear? Now, this old age home can be run by a 12 AA entity, or it can be run by the central government or state government. They will also get exemption. Then service of renting of presence of a religious place. That is, there is a temple, gurudwara, mosque, anything within that premises, they are providing these services. What they are providing? They are providing room rent up to 999 rupees per day. They're providing rents for the pilgrimage and they are collecting rent for it. If they collect 999 rupees, then it will be exempted. Again, if they collect 1000 rupees, also it will become taxable. Or they are providing Kalyan Mantapam, wherein they are charging rent of up to 9,999, then it is exempted. Are they running shops and where they're collecting rent, then it will be exempted. So these three numbers you have to remember: room rent, Kalyan Mantapam, and shops. Room rent 999, shops 9,999 per month. Kalyan Mantapam is on a daily basis 9,999. And there are some specific exemptions for non 12AA entities also. That is, if you're a Pandit or any religious guru and you are doing any religious ceremonies, okay, if there is any religious ceremonies, then like Pandit providing marriage services, coming and doing homa, doing house inauguration services, they are all exempted. Okay, that will be exempted. So this is gone. So only Pandit services will be exempted. Then fourth one is training and coaching services provided by again a 12AA entity wherein they are providing recreational activity relating to sports. Okay, they're providing any recreational activities relating to sports, then that will also be exempted. But if any entity is providing training or coaching and recreational activities relating to arts or culture, they are also exempt. That can be provided by any person. Like you and me, we are not registered on a 12AA or any training institute. They're providing arts and culture. The government wants to encourage arts and culture. If they're providing arts and culture, then it will be completely exempted. 12AA or AB is not required. 12A, AA or AB is required when they're providing recreational activities relating to sports. Okay. Got it. And then service of rehabilitation professions. Here we saw that any rehabilitation has been provided by this. Now the charitable organization does not have a expertise. They are taking the services of a rehabilitational professional. So that rehabilitational professional charging services for his services, here there also he need not charge any GST. So rehabilitation professionals providing services to any organizations, they don't have to charge GST. Then last in this charitable activity is religious pilgrimage services by Kumau Mandal Vikas Nigam Limited and Hajj Committee. That is when you go to Kailash Mansarovar Yatra, then this Kumau Mandal will provide this services to you. They will charge something. That charges is exempted. Even Hajj Committee providing Mecca services, they are also exempted. So that is all on the charitable and religious activities. Clear? Okay. So that is on the first part of charitable activities. Now, if you read the definition from the material, you will definitely understand it in a good manner. Next is agriculture services. Agriculture services says that who is providing an agriculture services? The basic requirement is Agriculture, work what a agriculturist does is a basic requirement. So all the agriculture produce are exempted. Okay. So generally, what we get from the farm, from the agriculturist land, they are all exempted. Registration also they get exemption provided agriculturist need not take registration, provided he is selling out of the produce out of this cultivation, then he is not required. Now, if he has some site, like some land is there, he's given it for warehouse, then he will have to register. But if he's only producing something and selling, no GST registration required. Now, that became a disadvantage and a lot of other activities were being done. So they want to limit it, saying that specific exemption only will give. Now, if you're renting vacant land with or without structure, then that is also exempted. Now, you have a land, you are not cultivating, you're giving it to another farmer. Vacant land, it should be a vacant land because if it is a constructed land, then it's a commercial activity. If you're giving a vacant land to another person, that person is cultivating from it. So they don't want to burden it. A vacant land given to another person, that is also exempted. Now, with or without structure means there could be some small structure, there can be a shed, there can be a water tank, there can be something which is useful for that farm, right? Small structure, with or without structure, vacant land mainly you're giving, that is exempted. Then, if you're renting of agriculture machinery, you have some agriculture machinery, you're giving it on rent. Now, agriculture machinery, other person will use it again for what purpose? Agriculture purpose itself, right? Then that is also exempted. Then, incidental to its use, services relating to cultivation of plants and rearing of life form of animals, except horses for food, fiber, and raw materials. That is also exempted. So, agriculture, when you say सिर्फ खेती बाड़ी नहीं है, just growing of fruits, pulses, vegetables, no. Agriculture activities includes all incidental activities, which is cultivation of plants, rearing of life forms of animals, and which will include pisciculture, that is breeding of fish, sericulture, rearing of silkworms, floriculture, cultivation of ornamental flowers. All of this is exempted. Fine. So all of this is exempted. Then agriculture operations, which is done at the farm, that is cultivation, harvesting, threshing, plant protection, testing. This is also exempted. Then supply of farm labor. You are in the business of finding out the labors and giving it to agriculturist. Agriculturist wants some farm labor. So he will come to an agency. This agency is providing only farm labor. That is also exempted. Clear? Then any process which is carried out at the farm, that is harvesting, cultivating, cutting, sorting, all of that will be exempted. But once you do this activity at a mill or at a factory, then it will be taxable. If you do at the farm, then it is exempted. If you do at the factory or mills, rice mills, coffee mills, we have seen a lot of mills when you travel, that milling activities happening, that is all taxable. Up to farm level, it is all exempted. And any other activity which you're doing which does not alter the essential character and doesn't, whatever you're doing, your packaging, minimal packaging you're doing, then it will be exempted. So fertilizers and seeds is not exempt. Yes, fertilizers and seeds are not exempted. Correct. Then warehousing of minor forest produce. Any warehousing activity will be exempted when it is warehousing of agriculture produce, warehousing of rice, warehousing of tamarind, etc., warehousing of cereals, pulses. All of this will be exempt. But fumigation, that is, if you're providing some chemical that was earlier exempted, but I've striked it off because it becomes taxable. So any fumigation in a warehouse, that will become taxable. Then any market services, that is, all this produce of the agriculturists, can they sell it to the retailer directly? No, they cannot sell it. They have to give it to a market. That market is called Agriculture Produce Marketing Committee. Each state, each district has the APMC markets, which is run by the government, so that the government encourages these farmers that you bring your produce here and you will find buyers. Price may be controlled there or may not be controlled, but the farmers bring the produce at the APMC markets. So when they bring it at their markets, then it will be that APMC collects charges, saying that you are coming here and selling something, you have to pay a minimal amount. per kg, per quintal, something. So that will be exempted. Now, in this APMC market also, a farmer gets it, buyer may not be able to find him directly. So there are agents. They're saying that, okay, I will bring you a seller. You have to give me some commission. That also happens. That is also legally valid. So the government is recognizing them and saying that, okay, whenever you are paying any this uh, commission to this commission agent, that is also exempted. First is APMC yard is exempt, produce is exempt, and then the commission paid to this commission agent, that is also exempt. Okay. Then loading and unloading charges of agriculture produce, that is the lorry which brings them, that is also exempt. So see, from the agriculturist, from the first stage till the last stage, most of it will be exempted. Dalali is exempted, yes. Dalali at APMC yards is exempt. Outside, if they do, then it will become taxable. Okay. Then other services which are exempted is agriculture extension services, like some training you're providing, some melas you're conducting, Kisan clubs you're holding it. All of this are incidental services, that is also exempted. Then artificial insemination, that is if you're putting artificial things so that their cultivation of animals should happen, then it is also exempted except horses. So दोनों जगह पे हमने देखा है कि यहाँ पे भी horses will be taxable, यहाँ पे भी horses will be taxable. All other animals is exempted, but horses will be used only for racing or some entertainment purposes. That's why horses rearing is taxable. Clear with agriculture services? Good. Any others asking, having any doubts? Let's proceed with next exemption. Wheat to flour is taxable. Yes, wheat to flour is taxable because primary produce is wheat, and that activity of converting to wheat to flour in the factory, that is taxable. Okay. Then there are some circulars and things, but we are covering the thing at the threshold limit. Okay. Next, educational services. Services till now, what we have seen. Now, before getting into this, answer me one question. That services provided by a charitable organization was exempted. Services provided by an agriculturist was exempted. Now, if you are providing a service to a charitable organization or you are providing services to an agriculturist, will that be taxable or will it be exempt? Taxable. Correct, because services provided by these organizations are the agriculturists, they are exempted, but government did not say you providing your received receipt are also exempted. They didn't say that. So when we are providing some services to a charitable organization. They have to file their IT returns. They have to have other certification from a chartered accountant. Any of that services, what they receive, that will be taxable. But in case of this educational services, here they have said that services by an educational institution will be exempted, but also services received by them will also be exempted. So, firstly, services provided by an educational institution to its students, faculty, and staff, it is exempted. So, whatever school fees we pay, that will be exempted, and conduct of entrance examination is also exempted. Fine. So services provided by them will be exempted. Now services received by them will be exempted provided what all services? Only specified services. That is transportation of students, faculty and staff. That is transportation. Travel charges. A company which is providing transportation to their students, staff and faculty. Students, teachers and staff is exempted. Then catering services, including midday meal, is exempted. Security and cleaning of services in such educational institution will be exempted. These three exemptions are up to the preschool level, that is up to 10th grade. These services are exempted. So college taking any transportation of students, college taking security services, that is taxable because these services are up to the level of preschool only. Up to this, it is for preschool level. Second is services relating to admission is available to all education institution, which means including this and this, it will be exempted. That is school and 10th standard, 12th standard, if they're taking services of outsider for any kind of admission activities or conducting of examination, then that will also be exempted. Then supply of online educational service or periodicals beyond HSC. Matlab, up to 10th, if you're subscribing to any journals, online journals, that will be taxable. About 10th standard, that is 11th, 12th, college, they are taking any services of a online journal, then it will be exempted. So services from outsider, that is transportation, security charges and catering services up to school is exempted. Above that is taxable. Services of admission or institution, admission of such institution or conduct of examination, that will be exempted. Clear your services provided and services received. Journals from 10th taxable or after 10th, not from 10th, after 10th. Journals up to 10th, sorry, e-journals. Journals up to 10th is taxable. After 10th is exempted because see, they've said supply of online educational journals beyond HSC institution, beyond higher secondary grade. ICAI journal is exempt or no? ICAI journal is not exempted because ICAI journal is what is not to 10th standard students. It is above 10th standard students, so it will be taxable. But the question is not on that. The question is on online journals, and ICAI journals are, they are all not in the nature of journals, right? They are in the nature of printed books. So journals will be different. So educational institution is covered. Next is healthcare services. Okay, healthcare services, when you go to hospital and things, beyond HSC is exempt, right? For which category, Dhanalakshmi? Beyond HSC is exempt. Journals, yes. Journals beyond HSC is exempt. Correct. Okay, healthcare services, services by way of healthcare service by clinical establishment, that is hospitals, nursing homes, and things. And authorized medical practitioner, that is an independent doctor providing services, that is exempt. And paramedics, that is x-rays, nurses, physiotherapists, technicians, they are all paramedics, their services are all exempt. So primary healthcare center, they are also exempt. Primary healthcare center, that is also exempt. They come under the definition of clinical establishment. Now, what services will be exempt? Healthcare services. Healthcare services also defined. That is services by way of diagnostic treatment or care of illness, injury, deformity, abnormality, or pregnancy in any recognized system of medicine, any allopathy, yoga, naturopathy, Ayurveda, homeopathy, Siddha, and Unani. These are all Indian systems, so this will be exempted. Reiki, acupressure, Chinese medicine, these are all foreign system. They are all not recognized, so they will be taxable. Veterinary hospital, yes, that is also exempted. Services by veterinary clinic, that is also exempted. So these healthcare services will be firstly exempted. Then transportation of passenger to and from the clinical establishment, the doctor charging, the ambulance charging, that is also exempted. But it does not include hair transplant. You don't have to do some medical treatment for beautification. You do a hair transplant, or you will do cosmetic or plastic surgery for beautification. That will be taxable. But if that plastic surgery doctor is saying the big accident has happened, if you don't do plastic surgery, your face anatomy will not be proper. So if it is not for beautification, for structural correction, for any defect, abnormality, injury, then it will be exempted. So all plastic surgeries you have to divide into two categories. One, if it is for beautification, or is it for health services. If it is for beautification, it will be taxable. If it is for health services, then it will be exempted. 18% for beautification, you're right. 18% taxable for beautification. Ambulance provided by hospital and private person also exempt. Yes, both are exempt. Transportation of patient to and from clinical establishment will be exempted. Right? But then they said, okay, hospitals will be exempted, but we want to keep a ceiling that if your room rent is up to 5,000 rupees, then it is exempted. If your room rent is above 5,000 rupees, then it's a luxury thing, right? Because room rent, when you go and get admitted, they shouldn't be charging you more. If they're charging above 5,000, then it's a luxury, then it will be taxable. So above 5,000 rupees, it will be taxable. Other than a ICU, CCU, NICU rooms, because NICU, ICU rooms are anyways costlier. So there we will give that exemption. But your regular room rent, if it is above 5,000, then it will be taxable. No, year 4,999, 5,000 is not there. They've said above 5,000 will be taxable. So up to 5,000 rupees, it will be exempt, not 4,099, because they've said above 5,000. So if you charge 5,000, it is exempt. If you charge 5,001 rupees, then it will be taxable, Gayatri. Services of veterinary, services of cord blood bank. There was some cord blood bank which was exempted. Now it is taxable, so I've striked it off. Then these waste products in the hospitals, they can't just throw it in the dustbin. They have to appoint a biomedical waste treatment. So earlier, this biomedical waste treatment services also was exempted. Now that is also getting taxable. Clear? Now there are circulars which says that room rent to inpatients, because when the hospital charges, the doctor or hospital services are exempted. Whether room rent also will be exempted? Yes, it will be exempted, because in room rent, the hospital room rent, you're not going for accommodation staying, you're going for treatment. Since the doctor is saying that you have to get admitted, you are getting admitted. So room rent will also be exempted. It is ancillary. Primarily is healthcare, and ancillary is room rent. Food, I'm coming to that in a few minutes. Senior doctor consultants. Now, hospital is charging the bill to the patient. Patient pays to the hospital. Hospital pays to the doctor. So doctor providing services to the hospital, that is also exempt. Amount charged by hospitals, including retention money and fees to doctors, that is also exempted. Food. Now, food provided to inpatients, that is people who are getting admitted. For them, they are charging food and giving food. That is exempted because, again, it is an ancillary service. But food provided outside the hospital, food provided to unadmitted patients, food provided to visitors, they are all taxable. But only food to inpatients is exempt. Then any service other than healthcare, that is renting of shops, providing any advertisement, they are all taxable. Then any abnormality or ailment of infertility, that is, you're seeing lot of infertility, IVF facilities, ART system they are using, wherein if there is no child, they are using some technology to help the birth of a child. That IVF system also, they have clarified that it is exempt service. That is on healthcare services. Next, let's get into an important amended services, which is renting services. This is amended a couple of years back, so that's where this becomes important. That renting, as we had discussed in reverse charge mechanism, also we are discussing that again here. Service by way of renting of residential dwelling for use as resident, except when the residential dwelling is rented to a registered person. What do you understand from this? That rental rental services for residential dwelling is definitely exempted. But if that rental of a residential dwelling is taken by a registered person, then it will become taxable. And then they're giving an explanation. It says that for the purpose of exemption under this entity, this entry shall cover services by way of renting of residential dwelling to a registered person, where the registered person is proprietor of a proprietorship concern and rents the residential dwelling in his personal capacity. Now, I am a proprietor, I am registered. It says that except where the residential dwelling is rented to a registered person, I am a registered person. So then will you charge GST to me, or should I pay GST? So the explanation says that when he uses the residential dwelling in his personal capacity, then there is no GST. But if such residential dwelling he is using for business, then it is taxable. And such renting is on his own account and not that of a proprietorship concern. A proprietor is a proprietor or the business owner in the proprietorship concern. So if he's holding that proprietorship concern, then it is taxable. But if he is using it in his personal capacity, then it is exempted. Then it says nothing contained in this entry shall apply to accommodation for students in a student's residences. That is PG. PGs is not exempted under this category. We have a separate category. Then accommodation services provided by hostels, camps, paying guests are not covered under this because there is a separate category for that. Clear on this renting? Okay. If that is clear, then you tell me a company is having a guest house. Now, on this guest house, they are taking rent from a landlord. Now, guest house may residential purpose only, they will have its guests who are coming or his clients who are coming, they'll give the guest house. Now, the rent charged by them, will it be exempted or taxable? Dhanlakshmi, your answer is correct, but reasoning, just see whether your reasoning is correct. Sridhar, what is your answer? Not taxable? No. The answer is taxable because services by way of renting of residential dwelling for use as residence is exempted, except where the residential dwelling is rented to a registered person. Now, when the company takes the guest house, okay, it will be taken by that company who is a registered person. So, a registered person taking it, so it is not exempted, it is taxable. Even though the end use may be for residential staying, it's not residential, it's a part time staying. So, it will be taxable because the services are provided by the landlord to the company. So, company has to pay GST under reverse charge in this case. Clear? Now, on this part, which was left out on accommodation service to students, hostels, and things, they're saying renting of residential dwelling either by a registered person or unregistered person for use as residence to unregistered person is exempt, but renting of residential dwelling for use as residence to a registered person other than a proprietor will be taxable. Okay. And further, tax on renting of residential dwelling to a registered person is payable by the registered person because we saw that in a reverse charge mechanism that it is falling under reverse charge mechanism, and whether it is used for commercial or residential purposes, if it is to a registered person, it is taxable under reverse charge. Now 12A says supply of accommodation services having value of supply less than or equal to 25,000 rupees per person per month, provided that the accommodation is services is provided for a minimum period of 90 days, which means if you're taking a PG, it will be exempted. Short time PG will be taxable. Long term PG, which means which is at least for a minimum period of 90 days, and the rent is below 25,000 per month, then it is exempted. Now that per month 25,000 should include metering equipment on rent, testing of meters, release. No, that's separate. So accommodation where it is up to 25,000 per month per person, then it is exempted. If they are luxury PG, that is they're charging more than 25,000, then it will be taxable. Sorry, 20,000. You're right. You're right, Bhupati. 20,000, not 25,000. My mistake. Where the rent is up to 20,000 rupees. You're right. HRA is exempt? No. HRA is a part of compensation of the employer to employee. So salary is exempted. So HRA is a component of salary. So that is also exempted. Okay. Any more exemptions which you have doubt on? Because these are the major exemptions which you have dealt with. Any other exemptions you have any doubt on, we will deal with it. Otherwise, I think we have covered the major exemptions. One is Residential Welfare Association. That Residential Welfare Association collecting charges up to 7,500 rupees is exempted. Above 7,500, it will be taxable. But before that, you have to see what is the annual turnover of that Residential Welfare Association. If the total collection is below 20 lakh, because that's the limit for services, and association collects the charges that is equivalent to services itself. So up to 20 lakhs, if they are collecting, the collection is only below 20 lakhs, then whether you collect more than 7.5 or less than 5, full exemption you will get because you're not crossed the threshold limit. But if you're crossed the threshold limit, then less than 7,500 is exempted, more than 7,500 is taxable. Yeah, any other doubts? Let me tell you the other important exemptions. Yeah, this one, which is right of admission to various events. Like if you go to circle, circus, dance, theatrical performance, or any kind of award function, recognized sporting events, or planetarium, it is exempt if the consideration is up to 500 rupees. If it is above 500, it will become taxable. Otherwise, circles, dance, theatrical performance, award functions, recognized sporting events, planetarium, if the consideration is up to 500 rupees, it is exempted. Then, if you're going to any museum, national park, wildlife sanctuary, there is no limit, fully exempted. Protected monuments also fully exempted, no limit. So, museum, national park, wildlife sanctuary, tiger reserves, and zoos, any amount exempted. Protected monuments also, any amount exempted. Circus, dance, theatrical performance, award function, recognized sporting events, planetarium, up to 500 rupees, it is exempted. Now, then, if there is an artist, if the artist does any performance, it is exempted if the consideration is up to 1.5 lakhs. Up to 1.5 lakh rupees, if they are collecting some charges for performance, then it is exempted. But if they're doing that dance or performance in Bollywood songs, even if they get 10,000, it will be taxable. Or if they're doing 20,000 rupees for a brand ambassador purpose, then it is fully taxable. So Bollywood songs, brand ambassadors are fully taxable, no limit. But other than Bollywood songs and brand ambassador, if they're performing anything up to 1.5 lakh rupees, if they're collecting, then it is exempted. Yeah. Think we have covered major exemptions. You can go through the chapter. You have like time now from this week till the next Saturday when we come. Please go through the exemptions. Exemptions are very important. To get into it and see if there's something which you can't understand. We will touch base on that. Any questions? Okay. So if there are no questions, then we'll wrap this up. All the best. Have a good weekend. Have good some time. But as we had discussed in the first thing, that pay concentration on three things. Don't get distracted. Timely sleep, a sound sleep, and healthy diet. These three things continue, and then continue your studies. Yes, I will upload all the exemptions, then Lakshmi. Okay. See you next Friday then. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Simran. Thank you, Lakshmi. Thank you, Soumya. Yes, sir.